Yo, what is going on? Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are doing good today, man. We got a special guest on the channel today, and let's go ahead. Without further ado, we're going to interview Cody Thrive and pick his brain on VV NFTs in the macro space. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right in. Yo, what's going on, Cody? How you doing today, man?
What's up, man? Dude, I'm so pumped to be here. I'm just so excited. I dove deep into Vivi like just a week or two ago, and I'm like all in, man. I'm so pumped.
Heck yeah, man. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just kind of like get started and kind of like how did you find out about Vivi and like how did that happen?
Well, I heard about Omi like I feel like a year ago, but I mean I don't remember. But I heard about it a long time ago, and I was like, man, everything makes sense here. Everything sounds good. It might have been like 8 months ago. I think a lot of the big finance YouTubers made videos on Omi, and I didn't really follow up or stay on it. Like in this world of like NFTs and crypto, like you're getting so many things thrown at you every other day that like I watched the videos and I remembered it, but it wasn't until recently I rediscovered Vivi. And truthfully, dude, I don't know how I discovered it. I don't know what one video I saw, but I feel like I've been watching it for months now, but I think it has only been like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But now I've just consumed like hundreds of hours of VV, and all I do is watch VV videos and surf through the marketplace and just read articles and listen to like the CEOs of all these NFT companies do interviews, and I'm like all in on NFTs now.
Yeah, man, VV is just super addicting. Like it makes collecting so fun, and when you're diving into the NFT space, it's kind of like like what am I looking at? What are these weird pictures, and why are people buying them? And so for somebody that's new coming into the NFT space, it's very intimidating outside of VV because it's like we don't really know what these things are going to do. And you have Gary V over here saying, these like 90% projects are going to go to zero. So it's kind of intimidating. Like, how did you get into the NFT space? Like, how did you learn like that maybe this was kind of the direction to go to?
Wow, man. Honestly, like not that long ago, I was thinking to myself, and I remember talking to one of my friends that's one of my real estate buddies. We were talking about how dumb all this stuff is. And we're
Mhm.
like, bro, this doesn't make any sense. This is like people putting headsets on and basically, man, I wasn't seeing the vision. So, but I knew that a lot of people were. And I just had to humble myself, take a step back, and say, all right, let's learn about this and let's figure it out. And I ended up starting to do a ton of research. And I think actually I have a very profitable TikTok page centered around sports betting.
Mhm.
And I also have a very big followed TikTok page centered around entrepreneurship. And what I had realized was these crypto influencers are making a ton of money. So I was like, look, there's money to be made here, whether it's as an influencer or as an investor. So I need to learn about this. And I started going down NFT rabbit holes. I found Vivi and I loved it because the humans behind the project and all of their resumes and the IP is so trustworthy that I didn't really have to stress like how you would if you're investing in like a project with pictures of like apes, you know what I mean? Like random animals, and you don't know who's behind it, and it's kind of speculative. With this, I felt a lot more safe. So that's actually how I was led to Vivi through just seeing a bunch of NFTs on TikTok and just saying, you know what, man, people are making money and they're gonna continue to make money. So like I can either say it's dumb and watch from the sidelines, or I can just educate myself and try to capitalize on this opportunity.
No doubt, man. And yeah, I just featured your TikTok and your YouTube channel, and yeah, I didn't even know your TikTok was like that many like subs. Like that's insane, man. And I think in one of your videos you mentioned you made like a bunch of money on TikTok. So that's pretty incredible. And also I stumbled upon your content I think last year. It was opening Pokemon cards. Could you talk about that? Like, because I know you obviously have experience in, collecting and seeing value in collectibles. Like, what got you started on Pokemon or maybe collecting in your, earlier career?
Dude, very similar with Pokemon to NFTs. So I was born in 1993, so I was like the perfect age for the Pokemon explosion from like 99 to like 2003, I would say, is when it was really like insane. But I never got into Pokemon, dude. I love sports. I played video games. I played sports video games. I collected sports cards, but nothing too serious. Just cheap stuff. I might get like a $20 box for Christmas, like a blaster once a year.
Hmm.
But I always appreciated collectibles, and I ended up getting into the Pokemon cards because, again, I saw opportunity where it was just blowing up, and I was like, okay, I don't know a thing about Pokemon, but if I can just sit there and learn about it, I could make money out of it.
Hmm.
I didn't make a fortune or anything like that, but the hack that I found was Costco had XY Evolutions packs in their 3 pack of Pokeballs. So it was just super profitable. Basically, I was getting XY Evolution packs for free because I was selling the Sun and Moon packs that were in there. And I've learned a lot about Pokemon, even though I never was interested in it as a kid. And the things that I've learned in Pokemon definitely help translate over. And a lot of Randy Chavez's stuff I like because he talks a lot about Pokemon cards and the parallels with like low mints and like PSA 9 versus PSA 10. You just calculate the patterns. But yeah, that's how I got into Pokemon a year ago. And I went in pretty deep. And then I hit this point, dude, where I had so many cards, both sports cards and Pokemon cards, where like they're worth like $5 to $25.
Hmm.
So they're valuable enough to where like you're not going to throw them away, but they're also not that valuable where like you're not going to sit there and post them all on eBay because you're like, dude, I don't want to sit there and post like for 10 hours a day to get all of these sold. So that's what is really appealing to me about digital collectibles because it's all on an app. It doesn't take up space in your house. It's not like you have a bunch of junk piled around. And that's something that I experienced personally recently, but that's something that I saw. I was DMing a guy who was very wealthy. He had like an online business, and he was worth multi-millions, probably net worth over 10 million. He was collecting sports cards with me during this time, and he switched to NBA Top Shot. And when he did it, I was like, dude, I don't know about NBA Top Shot, you know. And NBA Top Shot, of course, he made a lot of money, and everyone did that got in early. But for him, someone who has that much wealth, it's just so much easier for him to store it in an NFT and in a digital collectible than like putting all this money in physical collectibles. You're paranoid about your house getting robbed, and you have all these valuables like stacked up on a shelf somewhere. So I'm a really big believer in digital collectibles for those reasons.
Yeah, yeah, I love the fact that, like you said, it's digital and we can list them in like a second, and then there be a buyer, like not even, if you list it for a good enough price, on VV, it can be gone in like seconds. And same thing with the macro NFT space, the liquidity is there, and especially VV, because with OpenSea, not everybody wants to collect like these, some of them are kind of strange, it's like, for somebody new, it's like, why would I, collect a digital pixelated cat that's like taking, it's just like, what is
Yeah.
this, But it's like, oh, like, yeah, a Batman, like, yeah, I could definitely see the value in this. And so that for me too was definitely something that clicked for me. Now, as far as because let's tell everybody it was maybe like one of the best collectibles you have, because I know you've talked about it on your channel. So, do you want to tell people what's your maybe favorite collectible, or your one of your most prized collectibles on V?
Oh, my best one. It's really one of my only ones, dude. Is the Secret Rare Spider-Man. I think I forgot the mint number, man. I need to get that memorized. I think it's like 464 or something.
Hmm.
So when I got in, man, it was right when the Spider-Man movie was coming out, and the similar comparison I can draw is when Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl. You would think when Mahomes wins his Super Bowl, the price would go up, but it actually peaked a couple weeks before he won the Super Bowl. So with these superhero movies, my belief and what happened with Spider-Man and what I believe will happen with Batman when his movie's coming up is I think it'll peak like 1 week before the movie drops. And then after the movie drops the week after, we'll see about a 10-15% dip.
Mhm.
So I bought right at the peak with Spider-Man, but it was one of those things, man, where I knew I wanted to make content on VeVe, and I had the money to get a secret rare Spider-Man. I wanted to invest in it. I felt like it was a good investment for the long term and something that I would want to have long term. And I just didn't want to risk it getting out of reach because this. I remember when I was loading money into my account, dude, I was having so much trouble with iTunes. It took me like 3 or 4 days, and it was so stressful because the moment I decided I wanted to buy it, there was one for 18 grand. Then there was one for 20. And then it got all the way up to the floor got up to 28,000. And I was like, bro, I don't know if I can physically stomach this when it was just 18 and now it's 28. But I was willing to, and I ended up getting one at 25, which now the floor is lower than that. But I bit the bullet, and it's a long-term investment, and I'm mentally thinking of never selling it. That's kind of my mindset right now. So that's where I'm at on that. I'm super excited, and I'm going to go after that Golden Moments set next. I'm going to get all of those next. That's be my next big purchase. And then I also have a very valuable Sean O'Malley. I don't know if you watch UFC, but Sean O'Malley, Topps Chrome rookie, black refractor, numbered out of 10. So there's only 10 of them in the world. And the problem with that card, man, it's probably worth about maybe $7,000 to $12,000. But the problem is, how do I sell it? You know, I'm going to have to, when I find a buyer, am I going to ship it to him and hope that he's not going to tell eBay that he got an empty box? I'm going to have to go to a card convention and hope that someone at the card convention values that card. So for me, with physical collectibles, dude, I'm just so turned off by them when we have things like VeVe where we can get a secret rare Spider-Man that, like, if you want to sell it today, I can get it sold today easy. Whereas that physical card, even though it's extremely valuable, it presents a lot of challenges cashing out and getting your money for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was the thing for me too, like is collecting crypto, like because technically you're collecting these digital coins, if you think about it, but it's like investing. But yeah, for me the collecting digitally was just an easy transition, just because how easy sending Bitcoin is, and how I knew that NFTs are just the next level up, especially when like VV hit, and I was like, okay, like these are real collectibles. Like obviously like the bases and punks, like those are awesome, but like for me, I wanted something kind of like bulletproof and like low risk, high reward, and VV was perfect. And I knew that those would be easy to, like you said, you presented those problems where with eBay you kind of have to trust the party, and it's like they could report that oh, I didn't get it, and it's like, man, that could be a $10,000 card or collectible, and you just kind of have to trust that, like your collectible doesn't like rip, tear, or break in the mail. Like there's like all these factors, and you got to pack it, like I don't know, it's just to a lot of risk in collecting the physical, which obviously there is a big market for physical, but we're still at the very beginning of this whole NFT, rush and gold rush, and we're seeing brands move into the space and, prop up their IPs with NFTs. But it's important now, I think, to invest in some of these NFTs. What do you see as far as like how you think where the NFT space is going to go, and where do you see that like a good opportunities might present themselves at?
Well, yeah, you kind of said it really well with low risk, high reward, because these IPs, I feel like I just have so much trust in them and they're so safe. But for what I think about when I'm investing in NFTs is I'm really only investing on VeVe, honestly. I'm not investing in much other stuff, because I think about utility and I think about how can this become gamified and how can they create a video game in the metaverse on an Oculus, or if Oculus has a rival that gets created, a VR headset. And all of these NFTs on VeVe translate so well over into video games and over into the metaverse. Like you think about superheroes, there's so many good superhero video games. You think about Disney, like one of the first things I thought of when I heard about the metaverse, before I even did any research or even concluded that I believed in the metaverse, I thought, oh, that's a great opportunity for poor people to go to Disney that couldn't afford to go to the real life Disney. So like Disney's going to be one of the biggest players in the metaverse. And I'm pretty confident that VeVe is going to create the VeVeverse and Disney is going to be a part of that. And if that goes best case scenario, I mean, that could really explode all of these Disney NFTs. And even within VeVe, man, there are a lot of NFTs where like I don't really see like the serial killers, for example. Like they're cool, and I see how people like them. It is a cool collectible, and the artist behind them, it is cool. Like some of the stuff he's done. But I'm a lot more confident that Mickey Mouse is going to have a big role in the VeVeverse than like serial killers. Or there's a lot of other examples too. But that's why I really love a lot of these superheroes and all of the Disney stuff, because I just think I'm thinking about the VeVeverse, whether that gets here in 6 months or it gets here in a year and a half. I think that's going to be a huge explosion for VeVe investors.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I was talking with Cody before the chat, and we were talking a little bit about, the Christmas, the Disney Christmas parade. It was actually on ABC, and on my Twitter, I actually, posted a picture or a little video, and the partner statue was like, basically on the stage, and it's just cool, So I agree with you, and I think some of these collectibles will have more prominent place in the metaverse. And, you look at Disney, with their rollout of their version of the metaverse. I don't know how long or what timeline we're looking at when it comes to, how long Disney's going to take to roll out their metaverse, but it is going to be interesting to see what these companies do and how they kind of brand themselves in the metaverse, what we can do in it, the activities, because I see a big potential there. And maybe Disney rolls out their, I don't know if they'll roll out their own headset or their own VR or whatever the case may be, but it would be interesting to see them do something like that in the future. And so I do see a lot of utility that way for sure. But yeah, are you looking at any other apps? Because I know you in some of your videos, you're kind of looking at some other platforms, or where do you see like the macro NFT space, and what kind of other platforms are you looking at?
Man, for me personally, when you find something as good as VeVe and as sure of a bet, like I'm almost in my heart, I'm like 100% sure I'm going to be able to 10x any dollar I put down into VeVe in January. I think a year from now, it'll be 10x. So I'm not looking too far beyond VeVe, but I believe a lot in Recur too. And basically for the same reasons I believe in VeVe, I believe in Recur. We'll see what they do. You know what I mean? They could, there's so many unknowns with them that they could roll something out that like really turns me off of
Hmm.
them. But everything I've seen so far, and I've watched, they have two co-founders. I don't know their names by heart, but I've watched a couple of their interviews. They seem like pretty sharp dudes. And then I know the Gary V effect, man, because I learned the hard way, man. Like with V friends, I wasn't really paying attention to NFTs. I knew Gary V had his NFTs, but like, dude, you could have scooped those up for a couple $1,000, and now the floor is 35,000, 40,000. And basically, a lot of these NFTs take on the function of a mastermind. And if people aren't familiar with masterminds, what people do that make money on the internet, like high income, it's pretty crazy. I just recently got exposed to like these crowds, but like some of these guys will have $1 million months, and they have no problem paying 30 grand just to be part of a mastermind where they go to a super nice Airbnb and meet up with 20 other people that paid 30 grand to get there. And a lot of the value is, that everyone that's going there paid 30 grand to get there. So like these are all people that are making huge amounts of income. So just networking with them is huge. So like Gary V's NFT has basically turned into that, where to go to VCon in a couple months, you're going to have to either have gotten in early or dish out 40 grand to get his NFT.
Hmm.
So now I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to miss out on Recur if Gary V. Here's the thing. Gary V is he's really politically correct, and he tries, I guess in some ways, I feel like he tries to be everyone's friend. I feel like he does not try to make enemies with anyone, right?
Hmm.
And the fact that he blatantly lied about not researching VeVe, that's kind of the most aggressive you'll see, the most hostile you get towards anyone. That's the most hostile you will see Gary V. So that was basically Gary V's way of saying, like I don't care about VV. I don't know what it is. Basically saying, hey, I'm going to build Recur and we're here to compete. So as an investor, guess what? I don't care about, I invested in VV, so I hope it does well, but like, I'm just trying to make the most amount of money. So I'm very excited about Recur just for all those reasons with Gary Vee. And then the thing is too, like, it's not just Gary Vee. Gary Vee is like the icing on the cake with that. The way that those co-founders speak and their vision is really strong. And then their IP, dude, like SpongeBob is a pretty big deal. Like if you had a Patrick Star secret rare, I could see Patrick Star carrying some insane weight if that was like, if there was only 200 of those minted and like everyone on the app, kind of like how we look at Donnie within the VV community.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know if you watch Powerpuff Girls. I didn't really watch it, so I
I
don't
watched
know
it. Yeah.
is Donnie like, how would you compare him to Patrick Star? Because I feel like or Gary the Snell,
Patrick is,
SpongeBob's
I
pet
would say
Snell,
Patrick's way more popular than Donnie.
because they could do so many things like that where they learn from VV and they make their own version, and Recur could be massive, dude. So I'm trying to get in first on Recur. It's really a great opportunity for anybody who didn't get in first, because you see these guys, man, that have 100 of 100 Todds, or they have 100 partner statues. Like they didn't pay millions for that. They got in when they were a couple $100. So we could have that same opportunity here. So I'm paying very close attention to Recur.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've done some videos on like kind of my strategy in the NFT space. I don't look at necessarily just one platform. I like to diversify, just because I actually passed up bases. I was like, oh, what is this? NFT, like these don't look premium to me. But like lo and behold, hindsight is like looking back. I'm like, man, I passed up like an opportunity of a lifetime, and that was like a big lesson to me in the earlier this year. Hasn't even been a year yet, and it's crazy to think that. It's like, man, I could have had like two or three of those, cashed in one of them, and then like paid off my entire house. Like that's like how crazy it is. And so when I look at my mistake, I definitely want to learn from those. And when I see a platform like Recur, I'm seeing like, hey, this definitely could have potential to make money, because ultimately my family comes first. And I definitely want to make as much money as I can. Like you said, getting in early, getting those 100 Todds. Like if I could definitely go back in time, I would buy so many Todds and so many Resos and like all that. And so I definitely agree with you. And I think Vivi obviously is going to be, one of the number one platforms for a long time. And I think for me and my strategy is taking some profits off the table on some of the other maybe NFT projects that maybe are more speculation than not, and then putting some of that either back into Vivi, or maybe like a SpongeBob. If I see that secret rare SpongeBob or Patrick's dropping, I'm gonna definitely try to get after that one, because just all the experience like I've accrued from Vivi and the macro NFT space is like these like premium drops, they do 10x 20x, and sometimes I've seen it 50x, oftentimes on Vivi too. So yeah, so are you investing anywhere else in it, like OpenSea or anything else like besides these two, or?
No, not right now. I mean, I'm such a believer in VV, dude, that like I basically my income right now, it's ranging from like 30 to 50,000 a month, depending on the month. And it's through sports betting TikTok. And my next big payday will probably be January 10th to 15th. I'll get a couple of payments from a couple of sports betting apps I promote. And my goal there is kind of to complete the full set of the golden moments. And I'm really trying to get those items that like, it might not be the most, like if you have a small amount of money and you're trying to like maximize return on investment, it might not be best, because it might take some time for these things to 10x. But these are items that I believe that will be like so massive a year from now, especially 5 years from now. And it's like, this is really my opportunity to purchase them at an affordable price, which like, it's still, that's a lot of money. Like I could get a new truck or a new car, you know what I mean, with that money. But that's my game plan in the short term, is to get those blue chips, and then I'll start making some more strategic plays at like loading up on 100, common dead pools or something like that, which I also really would love to do stuff like that. But for this next month, I just need to grab stuff, because I mean, I'm not saying I think it will happen, but I would not be shocked if the Golden Moment statue had a floor of 30 grand in a couple months, just because people caught on. Like, even though people are aware that it's a big deal, like, I don't think they're aware of how big of a deal that golden statue will be long term. Like, and we're gonna look back, dude, and be like, bro, it was sitting between 12 and 15K for a couple months. And we're
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
like, dude, that's $1 million NFT. It was just sitting there for like a couple of months. And it was because it hasn't surged. It's been sitting there between like 11 and 14, I feel like, for a couple weeks now that I've been watching it.
Yeah, I regret not like selling some stuff and making room for partners. And I didn't make that same mistake with Steamboat Willie. And so,
It's
yeah,
fine.
looking back, I'm like, man, I should have definitely chased it up because I didn't know it was going to go to 10K that fast. I knew it was going to be super valuable. And that's the thing with like VV and NFTs right now is like the values shoot up so quickly. If you do not make moves quick, you can definitely miss out, especially like anything under 10,000 editions to me is a pretty good edition amount because, you look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club, there's 10,000 of those, and the cheapest one you can buy is like $250,000. Like, so 10,000 to me is not really that big of a deal. And when I saw partners at, 4,000 editions over here just hanging under, so, it is I saw Johnny Dunn, he picks them up. I think he sniped like two of them, like the night they dropped, and so yeah, some of these collectibles that I see on VV, I have a lot of hopes for them in the future too. Speaking of which, do you have any price predictions for Secret Rare Spider-Man, like in a year from now?
I think it'll be over 100 grand for sure, in a year. And it really depends on what VV does, because right now it seems like VV, if VV wanted to get to 10 million users, I feel like they could get there effortlessly almost. And I feel like they're almost trying to pace themselves. Maybe, I mean, I don't know about like all the computer side of things, but I'm sure it's a very difficult on the app when there's this many people trying to spend money like on the same 1 second. So I think they're probably trying to solve some of those problems, and I think they'll solve them, and then they'll open up the floodgates to get more users. And at that point, once there's tens of millions, I think eventually there'll be 100 million people on this app. And there's just no way Secret Rare Spider-Man will be under 100 grand at that point. So it's not a matter of if, it's like when. So it's kind of hard for me to predict what it'll be in a year, depending on those things. But I think there'll be a day where like that thing could be over $1 million, which is crazy to think. But I think realistically, I'm expecting to see it hit 100 grand, and I've really been rooting for it to stay down, because I don't plan on selling my one, but I would like to buy a second one. So if I could buy a second one at 20,000, I'd be very, very happy. But I know the day is coming where it's going to surge. But to build off of what you said about the mint numbers, anything under 10,000, dude, I agree completely. And I think one area for opportunity that I see right now is a lot of people look at common and uncommon and things like that, where even where the lowest minted item is like a rare, like I think Ultraman might be a rare, is the most rare. And they think, oh, there's 8,000, like a Superman, right? Superman, there's like 8,888, maybe. I think I don't have it memorized, but it seems like a lot, but that's not a lot for Superman. He's part of the big three, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. And really, when my dad was growing up, people in that generation, Superman was the guy, really. And Spider-Man didn't really become massive until the movie in 2002, and he's been number one since then, I think. So like, there's going to be rich people that haven't gotten into NFTs yet that bring a lot of money in, and their favorite superhero is Superman. And that's one of the best buys on the app right now for me, at like 1,500 $1,500, just loading up on Superman collectibles, because I think that's another one that has potential to hit 100 grand.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to see, man. Like these additions, like when you have millions of users on there, and then really the mainstream, like because there's downloads and all that, and that's always good and fun. But like when the mainstream like actually latches on to like what the metaverse actually is and how NFTs like are going to be able to interact in that whole thing is just like when they catch on to that they're definitely gonna they're gonna spend money on these things, and like Disney Plus, like the Disney Plus month or whatever, like or Disney Plus Day, like where these golden moments had intrinsic value. You can cash them in for like 3 free months of Disney Plus. Like Disney at any point could just be like, okay, if you have the Homer or whatever, it doesn't matter, but like whatever they say, and gives you access to this special area, or gives you a free week hotel stay at their hotel that they own on resort, because I've stayed in a couple of those before, and they're so fun, and the characters walk around in some of the hotels, but like Disney could do anything like that, if they wanted to, and it would be so easy for them to add in like that utility. I think I was saying intrinsic value, but they could easily add in utility. What do you see as far as like utility? Do you think some of these big brands like Disney may add utilities to some of these NFTs?
What's so fascinating to me is people freak out over the smallest utility. Like when you think of Fortnite skins, like the ability to play Fortnite with a skin, me personally, I don't care what my skin looks like. I'm just playing the game, having fun either way, but like it matters to people. And that's one thing too. A lot of people don't understand, like, it doesn't really matter what your opinion is. You need to be able to look at what the masses' opinions are and try to predict that more so than yours. And sometimes you can get a read on that by how you feel, because if you feel a certain way, other people might. But for me, I don't care a ton about stuff like you just mentioned,
Hmm.
because it's like, for me, I'm thinking like it's a lot cheaper to just pay for a week of a hotel than to pay 10,000 bucks for an NFT that also gets you that. But that's not how people think. People, like for the James Bond movie, I mean, what, you got 10 tickets? I mean, what is the value of that? 100 bucks, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But like people are paying however much they're paying for that, way over 100 bucks. So that's very interesting. And from Disney's perspective, they would actually make a lot of money if they did that, because people would buy those up for thousands of dollars, and they get that tax every time someone buys and sells. So like they'd actually make more money doing that and get people hype. So it makes so much sense for them to add that utility to these items that they're for sure going to add it. Do you know how much of the 8% tax they keep versus VV keeps? Maybe it's a 50-50 split. I don't know. Is that public knowledge?
Yeah, I think it's broken down. So with Marvel, and I don't know, I think Disney's the same, but out of the 8%, I believe like 6.5 goes to them, if I remember right. And then it's like Vivi takes 2% or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's similar to that.
So I Googled how much Disney makes in a day off of like tickets to their theme park. And I don't know if it's accurate, but Google said around 20 million. So I did the math, and like during the craze after the drop for the Steamboat Willie Mickey, like there was so much transactions there that I think they made way more than 20 million. Just not just the initial drop, but like afterwards, them collecting 6.5%, basically like at a super high rate. There's so much buying and selling on that. It's just crazy that like they could make more money off of the VV app when the VV app is completely unknown. Like nobody knows about it, dude. Even though we know about it and it's like our life, like nobody in the real world knows about it yet. And Disney can make 20 million or over 10 million off of a drop plus the transactions after passively, like with no effort. Because to run a theme park, you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Hmm.
So it's like, holy cow, bro. This is insane how much money is being made here by Vivi and by the IPs that work with Vivi.
Yeah, it's insane. And like Disney could just add like a fast pass utility to some of these. Like it's no big deal to them, right? That's free for Disney to do. And that would make the NFT itself just be like boom overnight, for these crazy, because I actually have basically my uncle in California. He goes to Disneyland every holiday. He goes at least like once a month, or if not once a month, every other month. And he's a diehard. Like he takes people there and tours them around Disney. I'm like, Disney just needs to hire you at some point because you go so much and for every holiday. And so I could see that being like, making people go absolutely bananas. And I figure Disney over time, they'll probably do something like, because to them, that's nothing, right? But like you said, it could just add so much more royalties to their bottom line and everything like that. So, yeah, it's interesting to see where it could go. And, I'm assuming they already have an eye on all this. And the CEO talk about, I don't know if you saw that CNBC interview where they're asking him about the metaverse and what that was going to look like. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I need to look at. I definitely need to watch that one. But
Yeah, I mean, they're paying attention. A lot of people don't realize that.
yeah,
They think Disney's behind the ball, but they've been in the game for a while. And even their ex CEO, Bob Chapek, he owns like some crypto Venetians, and he probably owns more stuff than that. We just don't know.
yeah. I mean, the fact that Disney has such a presence on VV tells me that they're definitely aware. And I think I mean, dude, first thing I thought of when I heard about the metaverse was Disney. So I had and that's what gives me a lot of confidence in VV. But even more so than that, like that's like so important. The VV verse with Disney, that's huge. But like Pokemon is also so massive as well. And we pretty much all know Pokemon's going to VV. So it's like, one, get your money ready for that, have some cash on the sidelines ready to deploy. But then two, like everything else on VV is going to go up with it, because if a Charizard hits 200 grand, that's going to pull the secret rare Spider-Man. That's going to pull the partner statue up with it. So man, like it's just VV is the best investment I have ever found. Like I've never been this confident in anything, and it's just such an exciting time to be aware of it.
Yeah, speaking of that, like investing, are you investing in the OMI token at all, or do you have any interest in that, or are you just kind of full on VV NFTs? Like,
I definitely have interest in it. I don't really know how to invest in it. It sounds like it's a good idea. Everyone's really, really bullish on it. So I haven't done my personal research that deeply, but everybody else I can just kind of trust. You got a big comment come in over here, kind of distracted me.
yeah,
Did
yeah,
you see the chat?
yeah.
Look
Thanks,
at
Kobe
this.
collects, man.
Kobe.
Thanks for the super chat.
But yeah, I was seeing if he had a question. He didn't though, but that's nice. That was
Great
generous of him.
conversation. Yeah, he just
I
said,
need,
great conversation, gentlemen. Great to hear a lot of the same thoughts and have community validation. Kyle's the first person I met through VV back on VV feed around February. Feed was ghost town back then. Man, it was. It
dude,
was. And I still
that's
remember
crazy.
Kobe collects. Yeah, he's an OG in the community.
So
I
for
think
me,
he actually has a YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, I think he did used to do like he did Pokemon cards, I think, as well, if I remember right. But
nice, nice. That's crazy. You're doing VV in February, bro. That's
it's
nuts. You were
wild.
on top of this. But another thing for me, man, is like I've made I've gotten my monthly income up so high off of building a following in a niche, which is sports betting on TikTok and YouTube too. Um, and I've seen how that works. And if you can become an authority figure in a niche that people are trying to make money in, sports betting, people are following you to try to make money. Vivi, ultimately, I mean, it's entertaining, it's fun, but like people watch your videos and watch my videos because they're trying to gain an edge where they can invest and make money more efficiently. There's so much profit in that. And I know that for me, just building a big portfolio where I have credibility is important too, for when I try to monetize my page. And ultimately, dude, I don't have the time to be doing something like that takes this many hours unless there's a plan to monetize. So for me, that's a big thing too, is trying to make an income off of this as well. And that's something that I look forward to. And I talked to you about that earlier today. I just think there's so much opportunity because we have so much knowledge of VV, and you have so much more time than I've had in the game. but like we're really early. And a year from now, 2 years from now, there's going to be really wealthy people that are doctors and lawyers and, you know, just average 9 to 5 career people that say, you know what, let me get into NFTs, let me invest in VEVE. And they can come straight to us. And there's so much opportunity to monetize in this niche as well. That really motivates me too. So when I think about investing in OMI or a partner statue, I also have that on my mind as an influencer investor. It's a little bit different than if I was just a closet millionaire that didn't have a social media presence. So that's another reason why I'm pretty comfortable just putting all my money into the actual collectibles, just because they give a lot of street cred, and you can flex the NFTs a lot more than the OMI.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing that Gary Vee likes to do. He just likes to have something very early, just to, like if it does blow up, you can say like I was there. Like he even says it in a lot of his like NFT videos. He's like, now you can actually prove and say that you were there in the beginning because you own that collectible or you owned it on the blockchain and it says you were here at this date. And shout out to Johnny Dunn in the chat. He's got like all these like screenshots and like obviously he's been early in the game too, and so yeah, like that's a big deal. And Gary Vee talks about that a lot, like the social currency aspect of social media. But now as the metaverse is here, there's a social currency in these NFTs, and we're seeing the
Yeah.
communities form around this, and it's like that's what's bullish, and that's what makes some of these NFTs just absolutely moon. And we have all these like sub communities on VeVe now, like just like you'd see in the macro NFT space, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. But now we have like, I don't know, the Secret Rare Spider-Man Club, or the actual gorilla, like extra large gorillas or whatever those are, from Decon, that they're forming like these subgroups. So it's very cool to see like community like build stuff together, and like add their own like little mini utilities to everything. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's funny. And it's crazy because like we don't even need Disney or VeVe to do anything if you just start a group and it's like, hey, you've got to prove that you have this collectible to get in the group. And it's just like what I said earlier about the masterminds. Like anybody who has a Secret Rare Spider-Man either paid a ton of money for it, and if they paid a ton of money, like I'm really interested in becoming friends with them because it's a valuable person to have in your network, or they were here super early. Um, Dude, it's freaking crazy, man. And what you just said about Gary Vee saying now you can prove it. It made me think of like whenever there's a famous like musician, like a rapper or any music artist, like people are like, oh, I used to listen to their songs like when they were nobody. But now it's like they can launch an NFT and you can have that first NFT. And then if they become someone, it could be a big deal. Like it could be tickets to their events or whatever. There's so much utility you can put behind it.
Hashtag Pineapple Gang. I don't know if you know who he is, but he does like Ecomi rap video, or Ecomi rap music and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's funny.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious, dude.
And he used to rap before he came to Ecomi, and like, dude, he's got some good beats. For sure,
Dude,
dude.
that's
I
hilarious.
literally will listen. It's so addicting. Like I'll listen to it, and Johnny Dunn has done collabs with them too, and it gets stuck in your head, and you'll just be like singing it all day. But yeah, it's crazy. Like that's what makes me bullish on VeVe a lot too, because a lot of these other NFT communities I'm in like don't necessarily have like like crazy collectors, like Twitter Spaces running all day. Like that's what gets me excited, is seeing like the metrics that nobody's really paying attention to. And like
Yeah.
when Dan and David do like an AMA, like you have 2,000 people jumping on the Twitter Space, but if OpenSea does an AMA, it's like maybe a thousand people jump on. So in terms of like the social media metrics, like people are just going bananas over like VeVe, and it's because it's just brands people know, trust, and love already, and it's like a growth hack. And so that's kind of what VeVe is. It's like this NFT growth hack, and things like that. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
been a ride and a journey, man. And yeah, but yeah, that's all I
When
got
I
to say on that.
when I'm investing, dude, like in NFT projects, it gives me so much confidence when there's a cult like following. And this is a cult right here. VeVe is like a cult, like everybody with their red circle emojis, And just seeing how Gary Vee responded to VV getting a little bit of backlash, and he responded, it was like, wow, these people are crazy. Like on social media, like they go after people that say anything bad about VV. And
Oh,
um,
it's like a hammerhead school of sharks and just like feeding frenzy, you know?
yeah, I'm not I'll never be brainwashed like that where I'm really part of that type of stuff. But I like to see it. It gives me confidence parking my money in VV when I know there's this many crazy people that are willing to like go to battle on social media for this platform. And same thing with Andre Jick. Whenever I saw kind of how people were treating him when he made a video, I was like, this is a good thing because these people are so loyal to Vivi that like they would put money into Vivi over paying their electricity bill if it meant that. And that gives me a lot of confidence that Vivi is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the type of stuff that gets me really confident and really excited to invest when I see that type of just loyalty to the brand, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's a guy named Russell Brunson, you might know of him, but he created like a software company. But like he talks about building culture and he always jokes because he's like in ClickFunnels, they have their own like little cult culture following, but he always jokes and he says he highlights the word cult in the word culture. And he's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you want to
that's
build a
funny.
culture, you know. And anyways, it's just kind of funny, but it's so true though. But like you kind of want that in your investments, right? You want people just crazy, you know, with the GME, like the meme stocks that were like taking off like crazy earlier in the year, like people were investing into these like meme stocks like at the beginning, like it was crazy, right? Like all over Reddit, like no reason at all other than like some people, some other people were investing because early on that really did see a value that GME could, do something here pretty soon. But yeah, then you had a lot of investors just investing into it just from the hype and like the excitement. Like I want to be a part of that, And so I saw a lot of that too with some other projects at the beginning of the year.
Do you think what is holding some of these VV blue chip NFTs back a little bit is just not being able to cash out? Do you think once everybody's able to easily cash out, we're going to see these things hit 200 grand for like the partner statue and Secret of Spider-Man? Because like I've seen way crappier NFTs hitting floors of like 200,000 where it's like, come on, dude, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, like those should be up there with the big ones.
Yeah, I definitely think since it is closed ecosystem, I think that slowly, the more I talk to with like Ethereum only type whales or people that just grind on OpenSea all day, like I talk to them more and more, and every day I keep getting more and more comments like, man, I wish I got in early like you did, or man, I wish I was on Vivi at the beginning of the year. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm getting more of those comments. It wasn't like that just a few months ago. Like a few months ago, it was like, yeah, it's just these aren't real NFTs, right? Is what you kind of heard. And then now that Vivi has minted on IMX, already, they're not live yet, but they've already minted on IMX. Then these Ethereum whales know that it's just like we're literally just right around the corner of being able to cash out. And technically, you can already do that with like black markets or whatever you want to call it, or off market or secondary markets. But yeah, once we hit immutable X, I think when people actually see with their own eyes and can comprehend that it's real now, and I think that's tangible for them. And I really do think that, yeah, it's going to have impact on the blue chips for sure. Because to some of these ETH whales, it's like, yeah, no big deal. I'll buy 25 of these for, 1,000 a piece or 1,500. Like that's nothing to these Ethereum whales. Like they will drop, 15 ETH and they're like, oh, that collectible, is under, it's like point, they think in terms of ETH, like, so they don't think in US dollars at all. And when they see Ethereum based NFTs and they see like, oh, the first, this is XYZ is under 1 Ethereum, that for them, that's a no brainer. They're like, oh yeah, I got 100 Ethereum. I'll drop my ETH on that right now and easily 2x my Ethereum and then some, right? And so I think that's going to happen for sure.
It's crazy how we really need to root for it to not happen.
I know, I
as long as
know.
we can, man. Because like, it's just it doesn't make any sense when you think of a secret rare Spider-Man with only 1,000 out there, like compared to 10,000 of a random cartoon, like some of these big ones have gotten. It's like, dude. I mean, I'm surprised no pro athletes own the secret rare Spider-Man. Like, I'm really surprised that no NBA players have hopped in and gotten it yet. But that's gonna come for
Yeah,
sure soon.
yeah. That's what's
And what?
wild. Is like I know it's coming. Like I can just feel it in like my gut that like you just said, NBA players like they are so like especially the culture now it's changed because we have these cool like Marvel video or movies coming out and like it attracts these athletes, you know, it really does. They're like in their they connect with these superheroes because they're like I'm that superhero like or you know I relate to Spider-Man in this area and so they're like when they see an NFT and they see like the Beeple that sold they're like and they see that oh okay this superhero is on this app and it's like that's me I'm gonna buy that I got the money now you know it's a
Yeah,
no-brainer for them like that's a drop
dude.
that's like a you know like $10 for them you know it's like no big deal.
I know. Imagine if Dwight Howard and Cam Newton both did their Superman things. Like Dwight Howard, when he was doing the slam dunk contests, he always put on a Superman outfit. Dwight Howard could literally buy every Superman NFT that is on the market right now without it even affecting him. It'd be like us buying a coffee in the morning. Like that's how much it would affect him to buy all of those. He could just hire somebody to load up his account if it's tedious, and he could just buy a couple thousand Superman NFTs. And then what does that do to them? That just shoots them through the roof.
Right.
And I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen probably sooner than we realize. And that gives me even more confidence hopping on these blue chips because these pro athletes, man, they might mess around with some of the fun stuff, but like they're going to go after the top NFTs. And that's why I feel so comfortable putting all of my money into one NFT, just knowing where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a more flex too, and we're seeing it roll out very very secretly. But Vivi is putting, you know, you can put now we see in the marketplace that who's selling it, right? So imagine if an
Right.
athlete just shows up and we're able to scroll through everybody's collectibles and they have a public profile you can believe that just because somebody's owning it could be a Powerpuff Girl. Like it could be the most affordable one right now. And if you saw like LeBron James own a, you know, Buttercup, like you better believe that thing like the whole app is gonna go like blow up. Like it so yeah, and like I said, it's secretly rolling out right now. Like we can see each other, but like it's just a matter of time before that like alpha gets leaked and people are gonna go bananas over something like that.
Yeah, the chat's talking about athletes that they've seen. Did you see the Barcelona soccer player? He
Hmm.
posted a secret rare Captain America, which I thought was interesting because I kind of wonder how like I was thinking about where Captain America ranks, and I kind of feel like he's just beneath the big three and kind of on that second tier, probably with like Deadpool, and the Flash, and I think he's I mean, dude, there's so many good investments on VV. You can't buy
It's
everything, but
hard. Yeah,
it's like, bro, a secret rare Captain America is a pretty freaking good investment. Around 1,500, under 2,000, you know, it fluctuates, but it's like that's not anything to sleep on either. It's not the FA though. That's what kind of sucks with that one.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's pretty much the FA of him because what the FA is the little Funko Pop doll.
yeah.
I forgot the Marvel Mighties.
And it's like, what if a whale buys one of these collectibles and you know, Ikomi says like, okay, we'll let you guys burn whatever collectibles you want, and then it's just like, dude, those are gonna go, yeah. So it's like, man,
They
there's just
burn a
so much
lot, yeah.
future stuff that we just aren't ready for. But yeah, like you said, we don't we don't want that cash out to happen. You know what I mean? Like we
We
like
really don't.
as
Yeah, not anytime
collectors,
soon.
yeah, we it's like we don't want that. You know. Or at least like we do want it, but we want it delayed. You know, like let's delay
Well,
this a little bit.
you say collectors, but like I really just view myself as an investor, and I kind of believe everyone's an investor, even though some people say they're not or whatever. But as
For
an
sure.
investor, I want to delay that thing, dude, because I know the explosion's gonna come, man, and it's like I wish I had more money, and it's interesting because what makes this so fun is like fantasizing about getting rich, and the people that have already gotten rich, maybe they got rich off Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever. Like, imagine if you had $2 million to put into VeVe right now. Like, you would turn 2 million into 20 million effortlessly,
Hmm.
and it just is so exciting, man. To like, I think the game plan for most of us is capitalize on VeVe, and then we'll capitalize on the next thing in 5 or 10 years, and it's like we're just leveling up, and it's just a fun community of people that are like see the vision before the mass,
Before it
before
takes
people
off.
in society, yeah, before
Now,
everyone sees it.
yeah, so I only got a couple more questions. I want to, I don't want to keep you too long but do you see yourself like trying to like you're starting to look at physical collectibles at all? Like you're like, "Ooh, there's Spider-Man right there." Like that's kind of cool.
I am I am over physical collectibles at this point, but I could see how a lot of people would. I mean, I was looking at the physical comic of that Black Spider-Man suit just to compare, and I was wondering if that comic would go up in value because of the NFT. I think a lot of people are having trouble comprehending just how supply and demand works, which is kind of weird to say, but a lot of people don't understand how important supply and demand is, and not to like belittle anybody's knowledge, but like it's important, and it doesn't matter what you think or what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter what 95% of the population thinks. If even half of 1% of VV users thinks that comic is worth $1 million and they buy it at 25K, it's going to be a million. And even though the day after the floor price hits a million, people will be saying, oh, it'll come down. The physical copy is not worth that much. But eventually they'll realize, okay, it's not coming down. And after a couple months go by, after a year goes by, then you'll start to realize, okay, the only people that will ever buy this are going to be pro athletes. Like maybe a pro athlete whose favorite superhero is Spider-Man, and they loved the third movie where the black suit came out or whatever the
Dude, I
case
love the
is.
black suit. I
Yeah.
love that comic. I think the art on that thing is sick.
Yeah. And you brought up in your video that the colorway of the secret rare is not based on a real comic. It's actually VeVe's colors. So very cool stuff. I think people are really sleeping on that, and it's like, hey guys, look, it is a very good strategy to base your comic investments off of the real life versions. But the amount of people out there, man, that actually collect and invest in comics is so minuscule. It's so small. It's not that many people. The majority of VV users in 5 years are going to be people that do not care whatsoever about physical comics, but they're down to get an NFT comic. And I think that's just my opinion on it. I think people are struggling to realize that,
Hmm.
dude, like it is a good rule of thumb to follow the physical version's like value, but like it really isn't that big of a deal at all. And the Black Spider-Man is sick. So it's not like it's an irrelevant comic. Like that's a pretty cool comic. There's a movie with him in it. So
Yeah, I agree. And just from when Disney bought Star Wars, they had their own comics, and I think it's the Vader Down series. I've watched that thing. I as soon as that comic came out, I was like, I have to get it, and I did it, and I kicked myself. I think they had like a really special cover, and that thing's worth. I think like I don't know if it's worth like 10,000 or I mean somebody can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but it's worth a lot now, and that just came out like a few years ago, and that's insane to think like just within a couple years time like something can be like all of a sudden be valuable just because there's a demand for it. And that's actually what was my last question was what was your thoughts on that? Actually, do you like to invest in sure proven like even though they're higher editions, like let's say maybe comics or collectibles, or would you prefer lower editions? You know, like what's your thoughts on that? Because I know that was kind of like a hot topic on Twitter and things like that. So
yeah, man, I think a lot of people are going to eat their words on the things they're saying about that comic book with only 40. I think that's going to be a huge deal, and it's hard to comprehend, man. It's not going to be super liquid because there's not that many people out there that are going to drop 100 grand on an NFT. But like, once these pro athletes get in here, once Logan Paul, really puts a lot of money in here, once it becomes easier, I think that's one thing is like, it is a grind to get money into this app. So like I could see millionaires being like, dude, I'm not going to sit there all day and call iPhones 5 times. And they could pay someone to do it, which I think they should. But once you get pro athletes in here and stuff, like, that comic could really take off. But for me personally, I have the Secret Rare Spider-Man. I could have swapped it out. I could have sold it and then I could have bought that comic. I didn't do that. So I am more comfortable with where I'm at with the Secret Rare Spider-Man, and there's 1,000 of those. So I didn't.
And only
it.
like 50 are listed, and half of them are.
I would say if I had $100,000 in VEVE, I would have snagged one of those. I would have put 25% of my portfolio into it, but I wrote it out with just my one Secret Rare Spider-Man, so I didn't personally invest in it. So I chose Secret Rare Spider-Man over that comic, but I do think the comic is going to be a phenomenal investment for people that got it around $20,000.
Yeah, that art's sick, man. And yeah, once we get more collectors in the app with, with higher maybe net worth and more liquidity in their, whatever they're doing. And yeah, I think some of these collectibles are going to go. But I called that, man, at that 30K floor, and I think it's still
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's a couple listings for around that 30K, but yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, it'll fluctuate because liquidity, some people may not want that. You'll have, like you said, a small percentage that do want that. And so, yeah, there's always the liquidity thing, but that's with any collectible, right? That's anything in life. So,
Yeah, and I mean, it actually will get a strong group of owners very fast because there's only 40. So like, I think there was like 8 of them listed, only 8. So earlier today, so like, that's 8 listed. That's literally nothing. And like, half of those 8 are people just flexing, listing it for $1 million.
right.
So, dude, all it would take is someone with 100 grand come in and buy 4 or 5 at the floor, and then they're all gone. And someone could have the mindset, dude, like, hey, I'm just going to corner the market on these. I'm going to buy everything that's under 50 grand. And eventually people will get used to seeing the price. And in a couple of years, somebody who makes 50 grand off of their 20 Todds that they're holding on to will cash out 10 of them and buy my Spider-Man comic. So
It's
I'm
just
really
a part of the
excited to
game.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch where that thing goes.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's it. That's all the questions I got, and we pretty much hit them all on the head. And is there anything you wanted to talk about or bring up, or any questions, or anything you like to talk about, or?
No, man, I'm just having fun. I'm glad that you reached out to me. Thanks for having me on. And if you guys watch to the end of this video, come help my channel grow. Come subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll feature that again real quick here on the channel. But yeah, you can go to Cody Thrive is his name on YouTube, and hit that sub and bell so you can stay up to date with his videos. And also he has a 3 million views on your, what is it, that last second to last video.
Dude,
That
I gotta correct you. It's business for teams is the TikTok. We're closing in on 1 million.
business for teams.
Yeah, I think it's up to 960K right now. So I'm hoping I can get to 1 million. The algorithm is tough, bro. They'll
Yeah,
shut you down quick. But
that's crazy, man. Business for teens.
yeah, I teach people ways of making money that like a teenager could do. It's
Dang,
that's
that
kind of the
is
gimmick there.
crazy, man. All right, well, thanks for hopping on, and thanks for letting me pick your brain, and appreciate you. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see what other videos you're gonna put out. And yeah, thanks for coming on, and everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in, much appreciated. Don't forget to hit also that sub and bell notification here on the channel so you don't miss any more videos like this, so you can stay ahead of the crowd. And yeah, that's all I got. Be like an NFT, be authentic, and we'll see you guys later.